Hey, Hartford Public Library. My name is Onyeka Obiocha, and I'm a partner in Breakfast, Lunch, and Dinner.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Devereux, a partner with Oni and two other fine gentlemen named Josh Shankins and Quentin Narcissus. We're a small business based here in Hartford. Started back in 2014, quite by accident. Accident's not a good word for it, but we certainly didn't intentionally start a business. Oni, how do you want to share our origin story?
Yeah, I mean, it really started with myself, Jeff, and like Jeff said, Q and Josh, and we were just four young men who have all different interactions with Hartford. I grew up in Windsor, Josh grew up in Windsor, Q grew up in Bloomfield, and Jeff went to Trinity, and we all came from different walks of life, and together we felt like if we can create events/environments that not only we all could thrive in, but other people that we're associated with can thrive in, then we could have a Hartford that's really exciting to live in. So all four of us as Hartford residents started to just throw events where we felt it would be cool to invite all our friends.
Yeah, and it was, I think, at a time in Hartford where there wasn't a lot of young folks doing things for other young folks by other young folks. And I think to some degree that allowed us to sort of gain some momentum and traction. We were running a blog, we were hosting events, and we were just being active socially within the community in a lot of different spaces. And that opened up a lot of different doors for us. We started hosting some bigger projects that we were creating on our own, things like the No Good Market, which it's fairly well known at this point, and we started being able to work with different institutions and small businesses in the area. We got one of our biggest breaks early on was working with Tanisha Dugan over at Theater Works to host some events to attract young folks to the theater. And just being active and being a partner in the community in terms of creating things, in terms of supporting art, supporting different cultural things, allowed us to just sort of keep a ball moving and to slowly sort of, like we said, accidentally sort of create a business that we have today.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think in doing that, and I kind of touched on this briefly, but really the inspiration behind that was, how can we create a Hartford that we're all excited to be in? I mean, there's a number of people doing a number of creative things across Hartford. But we very much thought that if we can create an outlet that can bring all those folks together, a term that we throw around a lot within the organization is something called social cohesion. So what does it mean to create cohesive societies and cohesive communities that can share resources, whether financial resources or human resources, that can share ideas, and that can really kind of be a self-organized, self-governing entity and area that they're able to eventually empower themselves to do the things that they want to do. So, I mean, in us, the creation of our business is very true to the values we have as individuals. And that's, we feel like we know what's best for us in the same way folks feel like they know what's best for themselves, but how do we get the resources, the autonomy, and the ability to just execute on those things that we're excited about.
Yeah, and that very much became what our business is. A lot of people who do know us usually know us from a particular line of work, whether it's event work or marketing and creative work, or maybe even through our partnership with Reset, helping with their co-working and events. But at the end of the day, the way we think about ourselves is a community venture building studio. So we're in the business of helping new things get started and take hold and be sustainable. So we're helping do strategic planning, we're helping doing business development, we're helping doing fundraising, we're helping doing project execution, we're helping doing project management, we're helping doing branding and marketing and like creative planning, and we're helping do sales execution and a whole host of things with our team here. And we're really lucky to have a great small team developing. We're fortunate to be able to hire people at this point, and we're fortunate to be able to I think support a lot of small businesses in the area and support a lot of the growth that we think we'll need to eventually reach our mission, which is around what we call creating collective culture. I think at our root and from our origin story, we had this idea of bringing different groups of people together. And I think fundamentally, we saw that as solving our own wants and desires and creating a place we wanted to live, but we also saw it as over time as sort of being the fundamental challenge in the place that we live, being that we have a place that doesn't have a ton of social cohesion, and we struggle to address problems with our neighbors or with our friends or whoever it might be. But if we can create opportunities for that, that narrative to change, for that reality to change by creating places, creating spaces, creating organizations that are encouraging interaction and encouraging increased social cohesion, we can begin to shift culture to where we begin to think of ourselves as a collective identity here in the city and then in the region. We work largely in Hartford, but we've also done bits and pieces, all the way down to New Haven, and we'll continue to do so. But this is our home and this is our focus.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for that, Jeff, favorite book, poet, quote by a Black author?
Yeah, I'm gonna choose one that's a little referential here at the moment. One of the things that we do is we help manage First Night Hartford, which is the city's New Year's celebration. And this year, we helped the First Night also take on the task of creating a Independence Day celebration, which was a particularly interesting challenge given what had happened with Riverfront fireworks and then what had happened with the country and the world at the moment. And we were looking to find a way to represent Independence Day in a way that was true to how people in Hartford feel about it and how that's reflected in the world right now. And in doing so, we had a chance to work with the city of Hartford's poet laureate, a man named Frederick-Douglass Knowles II, who's also a neighbor, which has made it easy. And he read a poem called Secrets during the video that we filmed right here in our neighborhood, actually on a rooftop. And it's an amazing poem about experiences and Black experiences in America, and was written a few years ago after a different series of police brutality issues in America and some early origins of the Black Lives Matter movement. But it was just as important a conversation back then and is even more prevalent today. So that's the poem I'm going to choose to highlight. You'd be able to watch the video on First Night Hartford's YouTube page or their Facebook page as well if you want to catch the whole thing.
Yeah, for me, it's actually a book that Jeff recently gave me / I borrowed. Black Marxism, The Making of the Black Radical Tradition by Cedric Robinson, with an amazing intro / forward by one of my favorite authors, Robin D.G. Kelley. Both are Black men, both are really thinking about what are the ways that the Marxist ideology is more so rooted in Blackness, and the Black body and Black being as being essentially a commodity in of itself, and the evolution of the Black liberation movement from, pre-colonial times. I think one thing that I enjoy about it is, as I've been doing a lot more reading and as I've been really exploring more nuances of liberation movements globally, I think this is a text that to me is seminal in kind of bringing together how we've got here, not only as a country, not only as a society, but as a liberation movement, particularly centered on Black and brown bodies. So something I'm really excited about. It's a long read, it's very dense, but I'm digging in, and it's been very informative so far. But with that, Hartford Public Library, thank you so much for allowing us the time and space to talk about representing dinner, an organization, and hopefully, soon to be an institution that's near and dear to our hearts. So thank you again, and feel free to reach out to us if there's anything you need, and check us out at breakfastxlunchxdinner.com. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.